Here's my dad.
Okay, cool.
Hello?
Hey, Jonathan Rosen. It's Philip Zalonki. I'm a close friend of Adam's for a long time. Nice to meet you. I'm doing a presentation and a small research paper about kind of antiquities in the black market and kind of the questions that arise during some of these pieces that come up.
Sure.
I just want to know if I could just ask you a few questions, if that's cool. All right, so the first question is just, what was the first piece in your collection that you could remember collecting?
Oh, I started collecting Roman coins.
Roman coins, yeah.
10 years old, I got a coin as a present for my parents.
10 years old, wow.
I used to the coin galleries at Stacks.
Wow, wow.
That's 57th Street today.
Jesus. How can you establish a piece's legitimacy? Not that if it was a forgery, but if it was stolen improperly or taken out of a country.
No way you can do that with silver coins, or even gold coins, because they circulated all over the world.
Right.
You find Roman coins in Italy, in Greece,
Uh-huh.
Bulgaria, and Romania, all over the place, in North Africa.
What about other objects like, for example, like the Naram Sim or like the Euphrates crater?
Well, the Euphrates crater I know a lot about.
Yeah. I know you were you were
Partners with Bob Heck,
Robert Heck, right?
who sold that to the Metropolitan Museum.
What was your relationship with Robert Heck?
Just we were business partners for about 3 years.
Uh-huh. And at what point did you realize a lot of Robert Heck's dealings were illegitimate or illegal?
Well, I didn't realize they were illegal because they weren't illegal when I was involved with them.
Uh-huh.
We bought from legitimate Swiss dealers. Now, if the Swiss dealer bought from an Italian, we didn't know anything about it.
Right.
We didn't buy anything in Italy.
Right. Okay. What potential...
Now, it's a fact that most really fine Greek vases are found in Etruscan tombs in Italy because the Etruscans had the most money in the 6th, 5th, 4th century BC.
And what kind
So
of...
the
And
quality went where the money is.
what kind of documentation do you request before buying, such an item, and how can you establish that such said documentation is legitimate?
Well, because the documentation we require is an invoice from a Swiss dealer and a statement that the property has good title and was legally imported into Switzerland and is being legally exported from Switzerland to the United States. What happened before that is not our problem.
Right.
It becomes our problem lately when countries are aggressively trying to get back things that came from within their borders.
Right.
That's a risk.
So what...
Italy is not going to accept Switzerland's assumption that it came into Switzerland legally. They feel somebody put it in the back of their car and took it across the border. There's no way of proving one way or the other.
Right. What potential legal repercussions do you face as a buyer and a collector?
That's the risk. That somebody will make a claim and get it back, and you'll lose your money and you'll lose the object. It's a big risk.
Right.
These days it wasn't when I was doing this 20 years ago.
Right. What countries are you not allowed to go back into, and are there any specific...
I'm allowed to go in anywhere. I have no problems anywhere.
No problems anywhere. Okay, I see. Why do buyers and collectors think that they could preserve antiquities better than the country of the origin it came from?
It depends on the country of origin and what kind of antiquities you're talking about.
Right.
Italy preserved their antiquities fine, but the problem is, for an average Greek pot, Italy has 10,000 of them. So they're crowding up the basements of Italian museums. They have no time to restore them or put them on display. They have too many pieces. It will damage them.
What about Sure.
There was a group of gold and silver objects that Turkey wanted back from the Metropolitan Museum. And had agreed to give the pieces back to Turkey. They gave them back. 6 months later, they were sent to a regional museum in Turkey. 6 months after that, they disappeared. They went back on the market in Turkey.
Right.
So the regional museums don't have good security. The guards are paid a pittance, so you can bribe them to let you take anything you want.
Right, right. I see. And besides that, what about actually preserving the item? Not only keeping them safe, but what about actually preserving them and making sure that when they preserve them, they're not actually damaging them or etc.
That's absolutely right. If you have a bronze and it's kept in too much of a humid environment, it develops a powdery green substance that eats away at the bronze. And if you leave it alone, the surface will be pockmarked full of holes, and the piece can disintegrate into powder.
Right.
So you got a responsibility if you have a delicate antiquity to restore and preserve it.
Right.
I just got back yesterday from preserving and restoring a bronze dog from Mesopotamia, symbol of the goddess Gula in the old Babylonian period. If that had just been left in a box or in a closet, it'd be half disintegrated by now.
Right. I see. If these said pieces are considered a part of a country's history or culture, do you think that they have the right to have it back in said countries, or they should be allowed to be in a private collection?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. If a piece is stolen from a museum or an excavation, they should be able to get it back. They can prove it. They shouldn't have a right to get everything back that originated in their country, no matter how long it's been out of the country, no matter how innocent the purchaser was.
I see. What information can you tell me about the statue that was returned to Turkey in 2003 that you and Robert Heck were, I guess, owners of?
Yeah, well, let's see, which one is right? I returned one piece to Italy and I returned one piece to Turkey. I think that was the Marcius group. It showed the contest between Apollo and Marcius.
And why did it become?
Because the professor von Bothler said he recognized the piece was originally at a small museum in Turkey, and as I said, if it comes from a museum or a site, it should be returned, and I returned it.
Right. And in these cases, do you ever receive your money back, or it's just a lost cause?
Depends on who I got it from. In this case, I got my money back. I just lost the interest on my money and the freight and shipping and duty.
Right.
So I lost about $10,000-$15,000 and got back about $100.
Right. And what about what involvement did you have in the Euphrates crater?
None. That was in 1972. I was just out of law school.
I see.
I wasn't collecting.
The only involvement you were partners with Heck for a couple of years.
Not at the time.
Right. Not at the time. Okay, I think that's it. I got a lot of good information. I really appreciate you spending a few minutes talking to me.
The thing is, reputable collectors and dealers, if they feel they received what's an equivalent of a stolen object, should always return it. They mostly do.
Right. And in your time with Robert Heck, how did it become more apparent that a lot of his dealings were either stolen or didn't have the right provenance, or
well, a lot of them weren't.
A lot of them weren't.
A lot of them were just stuff that peasants and fishermen dug up or found in the water and brought them to Switzerland and offered them to a Swiss dealer who offered them to Bob Heck.
Right.
He didn't go into Italy and buy from smugglers.
Right. I see. So a lot of it just kind of gets mixed up and